Hey YouTube, how the heck are we doing? It is Foul Play here, and we're back again for some more Pauper action. So we're continuing where we left off with last week, running the main deck Spider, Umbra, and Sentinel's Eyes as a 4 and 3 of respectively. If you're new around here, I'm testing this out, hopefully to improve the matchup against Fairies main deck. So post board, obviously, we have Scattershot Archer as an option as well. So we've still got other inclusions like Cartouche of Solidarity as a 3 of. This is kind of greedy with the flex slots, so I have reduced Rancor down to a 2 of, and both Armadillo Cloak and Ancestral Mask down to 3 ofs. These two cards are both extremely powerful, and no one can question that, but they are extremely clunky when you have multiples in your hand, like 2 or 3 of them all clogged up. Very, very slow to empty them out. As a top deck, however, they're probably the best 2 in the deck, right? Undisputably. So usual inclusions as well of the Hexproof guys. We've gone for 2 Ledge Walkers. Usual mana fixing on Utopia Sprawl and Abundant Growth. And we've got the Commune with Spirits. Because this version of the deck is strictly 2 colors, we've cut the cave out. We've got Ash Barrens in here, and we've got the 13 forests over the third plains. I think it's normally a 12-3 split, but I really hate mulliganing when you have a non-forest as your only land in hand, and otherwise your hand is fine. So, with the sideboard, I've currently got it at 17 cards, but we're going to reduce that back down to 15, obviously. So I found out from the comments last week, so Freewing Falcon is pretty good against these red decks, pretty good against Clarkland Shaman as well, but it does have a dyssynergy in one particular matchup, and that dyssynergy is against the Blue-Red Fairies matchup when you're also boarding in Scattershot Archer, which deals damage to flying creatures, 1 damage to each creature with flying. So I think this is pretty rare that we're going to run into this situation where it kills our Freewing Falcon. Personally, I've never versed the Blue-Red version online, and that's after playing 10 to 15 leagues or so. Additionally, in our main deck, because of the Spider Umbra, we have a lot of 1 toughness. So getting that toughness to 2 via Spider Umbra, Cartouche, Ethereal Armor, Sentinel's Eyes, it's going to be a lot easier for my particular build compared to others. Nonetheless, we are testing the Crimson Acolyte today. I can't see too many downsides to it not having flying, really. Other than that, we have finally cut out the Elemental Blast, all copies of it. I think it was blue or whatever that I had left. So bringing in Gutshot, we've got the Standard Bearer. This is going to shore up the mirror matchup. We're also going to have something to answer opposition Standard Bearers, which is Gutshot. Usual Young Wolf in there for Edict type decks, and actually we've got Flaring Pain, so this is tech I like in the Catgate matchup. It's a pretty long intro, let's get into the action. Okay, welcome back for match number 1. Unfortunately, we have one of those non-forest starting hands that I was talking about earlier, so we're going to have to mulligan. This game we're going to be on the draw against EHDM. This hand's capable. We'll throw away 1 Hexproof guy. We'll opt for the Scout over the Bogle because there is that pro monocolored white creature that runs about. Alright, opponent leads off on Island. Hey look, a Cartouche of Solidarity, that's pretty good. Alright, so opponent, end of my turn, cycled Ash Barrens for Snow Plains into Familiars. So we're versing blue-white Familiars. Alright, let's just kick things off with our Utopia Sprawl here. So this is an interesting scenario where we're choked up on white aura cards, so we're going to be mana inefficient and unable to release our auras quickly, right? This Ledge Walker also isn't the best. Alright, so opponent's second Ash Barrens for a Snow Islands Modern Age. We find Armadillo Cloak. That's not too bad. Draw a card, then discard a card, and it returns into the 2/3 flying creature. We see Prohibit in the bin. Potentially there is Spell Pierce to play around in this spot. Guess we just go ahead and throw down our cartouche. So prohibit, counter target spell if its mana value is 2 or less. Oh, wait a minute. I should be going Armadillo Cloak, really. Where did he get the extra mana? I thought he had 1 up. If this spell was kicked, the counter that spell if its mana value of 4 or less instead. Alright. So there goes our tempo. Let's get in. Alright, opponent discards Snap. Here comes Muldrifter. No second plane, so no flickering it, right? Alright, cool. Alright, so let's just... Alright. I'm a complete moron. Prohibit is 2 mana, but our opponent has the Familiar out, so it's cheaper. Alright, let's go ahead, get our Armadillo Cloak down. Get past a kicked Prohibit at that point. So we made the mistake last turn. We're not making it again this turn. Attacking, putting our opponent to 7. It's 1 attack off dead. Alright, opponent on the Muldrifter evoked. Oh, there's the Ephemerate. Yep. So flickered, and this guy, Dawnbringer. So destroy target enchantment. Goodbye, Armadillo Cloak. Fortunately, we have another one. Alright, so we do actually find mana, but again, we're sort of like choked up here on our green mana, so we're not going to be able to empty this Sentinel's Eyes out just yet. We'll go ahead, we'll attack. Our opponent has the option to block here. He's blocking with 1 creature. Alright, here comes the rebound, and he's going for Dawnbringer Cleric, targeting that Armadillo Cloak. It's not too bad. I mean, oh, Oromancer gets Ephemerate back. Alright, now we're probably starting to be in trouble here. Ephemerate, more shenanigans. Alright, so a little bit of help from our deck would be lovely. We'll see what we get. Opponent attacking there is a mistake, I feel. Alright, he's bounced it back to his hand. Never mind, more Muldrifter action. I was going to say, it leaves him short on the flying department, but... Well, I guess we go ahead and send those eyes here. Send it into the chump block that is Muldrifter. Not my opponent goes to 2. Alright, my opponent does chump block. That gets rid of Muldrifter shenanigans. We can Sentinel's Eyes in a future turn, but switching off that draw engine hopefully is helpful. Hopefully also we find like a Rancor would be really handy in this situation into a Dawnbringer. My opponent now got rid of the Utopia Sprawl. Alright, we are in a little bit of trouble here. Spider Umbra is almost helpful, but not really. We'll just pass turn. No help from the top of our library. Pass it back. So we can note in early turns, we almost got there. Our opponent stabilized just in time with what was arguably a good combination of everything. We did lose a little bit of tempo on our own, so we lost about 3 points of damage, which would have put us 1 point short of killing our opponent. So we're getting really, really close there, just not quite enough though. Alright, so a couple of turns later, opponent's obviously chipped in for a bit more damage, widened the board. We finally drew a little bit of action, so that's Spider Umbra here. I don't think it's worth attacking just yet. I'm going to like hold off 1 more turn. If we throw down, our opponent has returned 1 of their 2 main deck prohibits back to their hand. So at this point, anything we play is just going to be getting countered anyway. So if we can get 1 more good aura... Maybe we can bait a counterspell with a Spider Umbra, see what happens. They've just hit us for half our life. It's pretty troublesome. Fingers crossed we draw out of it. Alright, well that was a big pile of poop. Let's concede and go to sideboarding. So unless I'm missing something, I don't see anything in our sideboard we really want here. Dealing with our opponent's Dawnbringer Cleric would be pretty damn handy, but that's not going to be happening in this spot. Crimson Acolyte, Standard Barrier, Gutshot, all of this is doing nothing. Scattershot Archer, I mean, they have flying creatures, but all of them have more than 2 toughness. I suppose there's a world where we resolve all 3 and we deal with our opponent's flipped Modern Age, but that seems pretty unlikely. So the plan is going to be to tempo our opponent out. This hand's potentially a little bit too slow. We do have a good creature, which is slightly harder to block, can only be blocked by the flyers, and we have a couple of our best enchantments in the deck too. Because we're heavily on white, turn 1 Abundant Growth on the forest is going to be pretty decent. Alright, we find the Ash Barrens. We're just going to ignore that one for now. Alright, opponent throws down Modern Age, Deep Analysis to the bin. Alright, Glade Cover Scout just in time. So we can cycle Ash Baron for another Plains. It won't net us any extra damage this turn, but in a future turn it will add up, right? So we'll go down. We'll resolve our Ethereal Armor, so it leaves it vulnerable to enchantment destruction, but at the same time it gets it past counter magic, which I think is going to be important. Opponent also doesn't have white mana currently, so the Dawnbringer Cleric, the Revoke Existence, less likely to happen this turn. Alright, so another Modern Age, bounce land, bouncing the islands. We can continue to develop. It's all about that race at this point, right? Alright, Dawnbringer Cleric comes down. It's not quite just in time. Obviously, the vector flips as well. I'm going to tackle out. We want to get our opponent as low as possible. Obviously, Ethereal Armor's gone, but Silhana Ledgewalker is still a big threat. Can only be blocked by flyers, so our opponent will have to put a new flyer on the board. Plus, their life total is very low from attacking wide. Alright, Godfarrow into Sea Oracle. So gaining a bit of life here. Our warrior tokens are now almost useless. And we find Rancor. So that's about the perfect card. We'll make our opponent have the counter magic. Don't necessarily have a 1 mana counter spell here. Attack in for that win. Alright, so again with the sideboarding, not much we're going to change. Get back into it. This is a race. There's no attrition to be had here. Starting hand looks very decent. Let's keep. Hey, a Rancor. I mean, I know there's only 2 in the deck, but it's lovely to see one. Draw is Abundant Growth. Stick to game plan. Alright, so opponent does a little bit more developing. I think we want to just resolve past counter magic here. Our 2 best cards. Seems pretty straightforward. No point getting tricky playing around Dawnbringer Cleric. Alright, here's Sunscape Familiar, a mana, so we could be facing a counterspell here of some description. We'll kick it off with Commune. Find Armadillo Cloak. Yep, so that seems pretty decent. We can't cast it just yet, though. Throw down Sentinel's Eyes, see if there's a response. No response. Alright. Abundant Growth. Draw a card. Big attack, half their life. If we hit mana, I think we're pretty much guaranteed the win at that point. Our opponent's just very far behind at that point with 1 familiar on the board, 3 mana, and 1 turn to fix all their problems. See what happens. Yep, so Pharaoh into Muldrifter, gain a life. I'm fine with all this. Looking very happy with this attack. Ethereal Armor, like icing on the cake here. Yeah, absolutely. really good help from the top of our deck this game. Match number 2 versus Lucky Online. Second Doro in a row lost. This hand is pretty slow and clunky. We don't have 2 mana for our creature. We don't have white mana for our auras. Yeah, this is pretty weak, but I guess we'll keep. The play is probably throw Ash Barrens. Ash Barrens is better if we draw a 3 mana aura, but our creatures are better if we verse an Edict deck. So after a quick tournament results search, this opponent seems to enjoy playing Elves, and that hand is not a hand that beats Elves. It's just we've got to mark into something better than that. All right, so Scout, Utopia Sprawl, Armadillo Cloak seems like about the best hand we could have on a 4. All right, our intel is pretty solid, so we'll go ahead and play out our guy. It's possible that I should be Utopia sprawling there because then I can guarantee to resolve my cartouche next turn, where now I'm banking on land draw. We brick on land draw. Yeah, so I think I've missequenced this because we can't attack, but we have a cartouche down guaranteed. So, yeah, missequenced. All right, opponent plays out 2 elves, gets a token. We're bricking a little bit here, aren't we? So we'll throw out commune, see what we can find. I think getting the forest in this spot is fine. It's setting up for next turn. We have white mana floating for our cartouche. We'll play our abundant growth, maybe draw ethereal armor or something. Rancor's not bad either. Here we counter attack. Our opponent has a 3 power and toughness creature. Oh, lead the Stampede's always a good one. Hopefully they don't find too many cards. 3 out of 5 cards. It's pretty high hit, right? All right, well, we'll let them just pop off. Elf Shaman that gives a +5/+5 for 8 mana. Yikes. This deck, and the Timberwatch Elf. That's pretty gross. So if we could get like Vigilance and Armadillo Cloak down in the same turn, that would be pretty nice. I think we're just like a turn too slow here, which is really unfortunate given how we could have sequenced slightly better, but mulliganing's always tough. Oh, Distant Melody. Drawing, what was that, like 10 or 11? This is a rough one, guys. Another lead, the Stampede. So 3 revealed previously. They find 4 off the second lead. Holy smokes. Opponent plays the 3rd copy of lead, the Stampede. Low rolls for a 2 that time. Alright, so after our opponent has drawn and played out half their deck, supposed to block with the warrior token there. I accidentally clicked through. Doesn't matter. We can get like an attack in. Our opponent can chump block and kill us post first strike damage, and we're just like screwed regardless. Opponent emptied out literally half their deck, 29 cards onto the battlefield. Yeah. So post board, our opponent is extremely likely to have enchantment destruction, usually in the form of a card named Gleeful Sabotage. They also have negate. So those are the cards we have to play around. So gut shot, hopefully we can slow down our opponent's aggressiveness, slow down their impact on everything. As for cards to board out, like there's probably not a lot. Maybe it's just the Ledge Walker because a 2 mana creature is too slow. I can't see me wanting to cut any enchantments really. Let's just do this. I really don't like running 8 creatures. Hey look, a really good hand. Given we're versing elves, it's probably still not going to be good enough though. We should also note that a very strong weakness of this hand is we don't have first strike. Rancor is a payoff aura, but like a 4/2 is not super exciting by any means. Alright, so we find forest. Let's forest Utopia Sprawl for white. Drop our 2 auras. Attack, and the decision is to like interact with. Sorry, I'm not sure where I put my pause on my recording there. We're going to attack. We could attack Lanois Elves. I'm going to go for a bigger payoff elf. Elvish Vanguard is probably not that. Quirion Ranger seems much scarier. Alright, we'll get rid of Quirion Ranger. They can have their 2/2. Hey look, we find a Sentinel's Eyes. Not exciting. We'll keep one card of Mystery in hand. Keep attacking. Alright, opponent on lead the Stampede here. 1 mana floating after this. So hopefully, oh fuck, they hit 5 cards. Holy shit. So Priest, Well-Wisher, Lanois Elves, Invoker. Okay, so nothing too scary there. We don't have first strike. We can't attack. Holy shit. Alright, so opponent throws down 3 elves, decides to attack. We will not be blocking. Post-combat, I guess they have another elf. I'm not sure why they're not playing the elf off Lanoir elves. We brick again. Really unfortunate. It's a tough matchup anyway, and we're unlikely to win. So our opponent does have lethal on this attack. Looks like they're not going for it. I guess they're like 1 point off lethal. They might have enchantment destruction instant speed here. They putting 5/5 on this creature. Holy shit. Yeah, well, GG to our opponent. We're probably going to lose game 3 even if we won this one. Match number 3. 0-3 for die rolls. This, like, my die roll luck seems awful on this at the moment. I think I have about a 25% die roll win rate currently. Hand is a keep. It's decent. I would just like to win some more die rolls, you know. So we're versing fairies. Let's like Utopia Sprawl for white here. Given we're on 1 mana, I don't want to fall too far behind on tempo. Could get blown out by having our creature countered. Hopefully not. It looks like they're developing a brainstorm for a Delver flip. I'm fine with this. So brainstorm, revealing brainstorm, holding up snow-covered island. Now we can verse both Spell Pierce and Force Spike here. The more common card is Force Spike, so I'm going to look to play around Force Spike a little bit. Spider Umbra could actually come in handy. I think we bait with Commune. He just lets Commune resolve. What? All right, let's get Sentinel's Eyes. We already have Trample. We already have Reach in hand, so this seems fine. All right, here's the attacks. So Spell Starter Sprite, Counter Spells. These are cards our opponent could have at the moment. We have double Spider Umbra, so that's the least important thing to be resolving right now. We'll bait out the first counter spell by playing it. A Responsive Brainstorm. Spider Umbra resolves. It's pretty nice. I'm guessing if that resolved, they don't have any counter magic. It's just so juicy resolving Sentinel's Eyes here. We could get greedy and go for Cartouche, but I don't think there's any reason to. This should just be the win right here. For Spike, sure, whatever. No, we lost our second Spider Umbra. Like this is completely fine. Their Delver is pointless now. Their flip Delver is pointless. Hold the phone. Our opponent has Spire Golem. Maybe it's just a mono blue Delver deck and not fairies. So we are in like such a sweet spot here. Like this is freaking awesome. Well, resolving Ethereal Armor would be winning the match, so let's see if they've got a counterspell. That resolves. We can't play out any other auras in hand. It's a shame. Frantic Inventory, sure. Opponent forced to chump block. Brainstorm, sure. So chump block, opponent goes to 2. Oh wait, we don't have trample. Never mind. Opponent not dead just yet. I'm getting slightly ahead of myself. I'm pretty like stoked about the creature we have on the board at the moment though. Augur of Bogles. Oh, Augur of Bogles revealing Echoing Truth, so that could be good. Bouncing Ethereal Armor, swinging a lot of tempo. Second Augur. Oh wow. So we have a chance here to resolve Armadillo Cloak, and Trample is just going to be really strong. Plus we find the planes for Cartouche. All right. Really fortunate top decks here. It gives us like more than enough damage. Opponent gambles on us not hitting the Trample. Fortunately we do. All right, so we're versing mono blue deck similar to the one shown on screen here. Creatures of Delver, Augur of Bolas, Spy Golem, and the Terror, the Tellarian Terror. suite of Brainstorm that we don't really care about. Counter magics of Force Spike, Spell Pierce, Arcane Denial, and Counterspell. Bounce effect on Echoing Truth. Draw effects here. Snap doesn't really affect us. So kind of sideboard wise, Annul going to be brought in. And after that, nothing of over relevance. This should be a pretty good matchup. With our sideboard, we could look to bring in Gut Shot to kill Delver before it flips. That could be decent, but honestly, I think the matchup is just so good and so in our favor that it doesn't really matter. We should note post-board, Silhana Ledgewalker is a lot weaker as a creature because on the draw, our opponent can counterspell our creature, and that leaves us in a lot of trouble, right? All right, so we have to mulligan a little bit. We do find a decent hand here. We'll bottom Spider Umbra, Utopia Sprawl, keep the rest. All right, turn 1 Delver from the opponent. We will lead off on the Scout, get it past that counter magic. Hopefully, we do hit our land and we can resolve with a little bit of tempo instead of getting tempoed out by our own deck. All right, well, I guess we commune here. Is our opponent countering? They are not. We do hit our land drop. Play out our land drop. Spider Umbra is kind of nice. Utopia Sprawl for Ethereal Armor is probably a bit better though. So we'll run the Spider Umbra into Counter Magic, which doesn't exist. Cool. End step of Frantic Inventory. Flip card was Brainstorm, by the way. Alright, cool. So we hit Forest. We'll float some mana. Utopia Sprawl for white. I guess we play around Spell Pierce while we can. Alright. Attack for 5 is like still really, really strong here. End of turn, opponent considers. Plus Brainstorm. Oh, and a Thought Scour. Alright, so they ditched the islands they didn't want out of their hand, and they should have some pretty good gas and interaction here, though still making land drops, as our opponent just miserably flooded. Is that what's going on here? The way they sequenced this was like they weren't even digging for a counterspell, because they didn't even try to counter Ethereal Armor, which seems slightly odd to me. Alright, so we can Utopia Sprawl here. We'll go for white again. Scrolls our guy. We'll keep them honest and go for Mask. Alright, looks like our opponent finally has some counter magic. It is a null. No attacks from him last turn, so it looks like they're considering the block. They take the block. Oh, snap their creature to the hand. That makes sense. Echoing Truth. Oh, spicy. Alright, well, I think it's pretty likely our opponent has some description of counter magic here. Oh, he's ready to fire it off. Well, I don't really want to just throw away Ethereal Armor. We're better off leaving it in hand. Alright, opponent fires Frantic Inventory, beginning of combat. It's like slightly dangerous because we could resolve post-combat. We want to like hold Ethereal Armor when we're trying to resolve like another Ancestral Mask or something. So throwing it into counter magic here loses us tempo later on. It just lets our opponent use their mana efficiently. Makes very little sense. Also, you know, 5 cards in hand, all that jazz. Keep packing in for 2. Alright, Frantic Inventory, drawing 2 cards. Alright, our opponent does play Augur. What do we find? An Augur Bricks? That's like a little bit sad, right? Holy smokes. Alright, so opponent is obviously going to look to block us out here. I guess we let it happen. We have another Bogle. I guess we resolve Bogle first and then do the attack. Because then if it's exactly counterspell, we're not blowing ourselves out super I'm like assuming they've got a null, right? Oh, I did not. Fuck. I'm supposed to slide the blockers across. That was really bad from me. Exactly, counterspell. All right. This is the shame concession from me. We're pretty far behind at this point, and we seem to be drawing dead. Well, Delver seemed really not that troublesome there. Let's run it back. All right, hand is pretty damn good. A little bit awkward with the mana. Maybe we can commune to find second forest on our second turn. Find Utopia Sprawl. Our opponent is like stinking of Force Spike a little bit here. I don't want to get Force Spiked. Oh god. We have a lot of green in hand. Let's Utopia on green. So opponent end of turn Brainstorm, passing to us. We find Ash Barrens. Seems okay. Let's kick it off with Commune. See how our opponent responds. They do not. I guess it's Utopia Sprawl. That's pretty medium, right? So now we'll Spider Umbra. See if there's a response. We can cycle Ash Barrens for a forest too. And then we will Utopia Sprawl on the forest. Opponent can like counter if they want, but it's not a very good target, right? It's also not a very good attack. All right, opponent with Curfew. So this was a card in their sideboard that I glossed over, actually. I remember the artwork. Fortunately, the Curfew is not a huge blowout. Unfortunately, I think they're holding Counterspell in hand. We're probably supposed to keep them honest. I'm going to give it one more turn before I do that, though. Well, you know, our deck doesn't want to help us, unfortunately, so we'll see what happens. Likely just losing what should be a really strong matchup. Alright, opponent main step, Brainstorm, getting things happening. End of turn considering as well. My guess is they're looking for a threat at the moment. Doesn't seem to be coming. So, Abundant Growth, what do we find? Drawing Dead. I think we're a little bit unfortunate here. Obviously, most games we hit 2 creatures. Mathematically, it's fairly likely. Plus, we've also got the Sentinel's Eye, the Cartouche of Solidarity for the token. It's pretty lame that we're just like super dead here. Alright, so opponent Augur to finding Brainstorm and attacking with the Terror. We're continuing to draw dead, although that's potentially a lifeline. I think with the number of cards in my opponent's hand, the fantastic card selection with effects like Brainstorm, we're just extremely unlikely to get there. They're very likely to have another counterspell. Opponent in for 6, end of turn Delver. Alright, well, if this flips, we're dead. If not, we get one more buy, but realistically, we're just dead. Alright, and we lose out. Bogle on top for the the salt there. I think we're extremely unlikely to win this anyway, though, right? It's probably a good example of if we're won the die roll game 1, we would have won game 1, and then we may have lost game 2 and then won game 3. So 4th die roll in a row, this league lost. And also mulliganing again and again. Oh my god. This deck mulligans so frequently. It's absolutely crazy. Think it's this. Oh damn, I wish I had Vigilance now. Red deck, although Armadillo Cloak is extremely good into red deck. I think the Epicure is played in more of a burn deck as well, so we should be mostly okay here. As long as we get to 3 mana. Utopia Sprawl is a pretty good find. It guarantees us Armadillo Cloak next turn. We're still at a very healthy 18. I don't think our opponent's deck... Why am I playing out the Bogle? Oh my god. Sorry, I'm tired. I don't think my opponent's deck deals out damage that quickly. I think we can still be aggressive and attack here, even though I blundered the Utopia Sprawl and the mana. It doesn't burn that fast. Opponent with Rebirth here. Alright, so that gives our opponent a chunky Foundry Street Denizen. I don't see any reason at a glance to not block the Foundry Street Denizen. It's going to remove a lot of damage. Alright, and some Gobby Grenades. We lock out and draw the forest. We do not deserve this fortune here at all. Maybe don't deserve it at all is harsh, but we did blunder and we didn't get punished on the blunder. Obviously, Armadillo Cloak attack is very good here. The 6 life gained is much more beneficial than the 3 prevented from holding up blocks. Our opponent just concedes. So post board, our opponent's cards that are potentially troubling to us include End of Festivities and possibly Molten Rain, dealing with our mana development, right? So End of Festivities, 1 mana, 1 damage to each creature and planeswalker an opponent controls. Crimson and Alkalite here is an efficiency swap for Seal Heartlander Ledgewalker. Seems pretty decent in the spot. We could consider something like Gutshot or Standard Bearer. They both seem a little bit medium to me, and I think we're better off just submitting. Opponent mulligans to 6. I would love to keep this hand, but we don't have green mana, so... Oh my goodness. Well, this hand wasn't as impressive as the first one, but it still sucks. Alright, we'll keep this. Ditch Mask. Feel like Sentinel's Eyes is pretty strong. So ditch Spider Umbra, keep the rest. To play around End of Hostilities as well, it's probably correct to turn to the Bogle. Again, it's not a super crazy fast burn deck that we have to be worried about. There's no Eidolon that's going to make things horrible for us. I guess either Abundant Growth or Ancestral Mask are fine. I think Ancestral Mask is probably edging it though. The downside to Mask is if we don't draw land, we can't cast it. The upside obviously being... Oh my goodness. The upside obviously being we've got other spells to play. And we have time to draw the land. Like we're not pressured to curve out perfectly. Not with 1 mana spells in hand. Alright, so we could potentially be blocking our opponent. This Goblin Slider is pretty scary though. So it's any creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So I can't really attack here. I can't really block here without losing my guy. We'll just take the damage. Once we build a bigger creature, we'll be in a better spot. Oh, goodness. So, Mask gives +2/+2. Sentinel's Eyes gives us a 3/3. Mask gives us a 4/4. I guess we Mask. I don't really like this, though. No, Mask gives us a 5/5 instead of a 4/4. So no attacks from us for threat of dying from lethal attacks. So, Wogmore Marshal is really awkward. So if we block here, we block a Goblin. Our opponent can sack 4, 5, 6, 7 Goblins. We just can't do that. Blocking Goblin is better than blocking Voldaren Epicure, because if we block the Epicure, there's potentially one more goblin. We're probably dead to a grenade at this point. One life short of being dead to grenade. I mean, we're just dead on the next attack though, right? They just go wide. If they go wide, is the better play Cartouche, don't attack, because then we have 2 blockers and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're still dead. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. So blocks here and die. I guess if they're being technical, they shift the 1 damage across, and then we dead. So having a quick look, the Goblins deck is mainly Gutshot. Actually becomes a bit better now, given what we're versing. Usually it's a black-red Goblins deck with a potential combo in there. I think Gutshot in for Mask. Mask being slow and not gaining us life. If we can stop them having those antics of being able to buff creatures, it's going to be pretty strong. So this hand looks good on face value, but no way to cast our white cards, so it's actually really weak. This has like no auras, but we can find some. We have our mana developed as well, so that's good. Opponent mulls to 6-2. God, there's a chance our opponent just goes for the board wipe, and playing Bogle is inaccurate. I think we Utopia Sprawl. Utopia Sprawl for white doesn't use our mana effectively. We have the Abundant Growth for white as well, so we'll be as mana efficient as possible. Alright, we find another guy, so we'll kick it off with a Commune. I've tapped my lands wrong here in case I find a white aura. This is very, very silly of me. Alright, so Bogle, Spider Umbra, pass. It's a very, very disappointing Commune. Maybe after we draw the Scout, we Abundant Growth, and then if they sweep, it's not as bad. We see 2 cards deeper before we play Commune, so we're more likely to hit Unflinching Courage. I think our Commune was missequenced too. We could block here, force the issue. We're not in a very good place without Spider Umbra though. Very awkward. Oh god. Double green, Abundant Growth. Please find us some action, deck. Please, for the love of God, find us some action. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess we can play out some of these hexproof creatures as chump blockers. I think the attack here is fine, because if our opponent wants to do this, they lose both of their troublesome goblins. We lose Spider Umbra, which sucks, but we're very far behind given what's in hand and what's on the board. They chump block, do nothing. Weird. Alright, War Marshal, so obviously this is pretty strong. Now if we block, the tokens kind of invalidate the block a lot. I guess we take for a while. At least one more turn. If we have a second Bogle on the board and we like look to double or triple block, alright, they're just sacking the War Marshal anyway. 2 cards in hand. Alright, well that is an aura. Let's go ahead and attack. See how our opponent responds. Alright, so damage goes through. We will Bogle here. We can cycle Ash Barrens to thin the deck. I don't like letting our opponent know that we have like stuff all going on. But thinning the deck is that relevant at the moment. I'm going to do it. Although, oh, wait a minute. With Commune, we bottomed 3 cards of junk. So thinning the deck, shuffle 3 cards back in, and it's incorrect to do. Yeah, I made a mistake. That's another blunder this league. All right, we're going to go for some big blocks here. See how our opponent responds to us nerfing down their goblin presence. You should also note 2 cards in hand. Our opponent is in trouble. They can sack 3 goblins to trade off with the spider umbra here, and then they're left with no goblin presence. Plus, we have these 2 wide Bogles alive. They can sack here to grow this guy, or sack here to grow this guy and survive there. They're basically like losing their best guy, so they just sack that one. All right, I'm pretty fine with this. If they have another goblin sledder, it's less good, but we make them have it, right? Lightning bolt, sure. I don't know why our opponent wasn't playing that lightning bolt end step. Like my end step after I attack. Seems odd. They're like, yeah, maybe they just want to F6, but it gives us information we don't need to have. All right, so opponent sacks the blood token to draw, plays experimental synthesizer, finds end the festivities, plays it, and no attacks. It's good for us. Crimson Acolyte. All right, we're grinding through this game very slowly. This is actually an extremely good draw, and it is much better than Free Wing Falcon here. It's like really nice. So opponent plays Rebirth, sacking the synthesizer, excuse me. Big Foundry Street Denizen. Epicure, like this is all fine. This is all manageable. 1 card in hand. We have really good blocks. Our opponent is going for the attack, which is just wrong because we get a free block here, a free block here. All right, he changes his mind. Ethereal Armor, that is exactly what I want to see. All right, anytime we connect with our Bogle... Oh, shit. I have misplayed here. I had the win by giving pro red and attacking, and I'm an absolute donkey. I am a pelican. All right, we're still in a really good position, though. We have the kill next turn, and our opponent doesn't have too good attacks, really. We could actually die here if our opponent plays... I guess we're not quite dead. It would take both Goblin Grenade plus a Sledder, and then we'd be dead. Wait, why did I attack with the Crimson Acolyte? What am I doing? Alright. Lock Foundry Street Denizen. Take 4. We're dead to a Goblin Grenade. Fuck. I don't know why I'm misplaying this poorly. I must be getting quite tired right now. Opponent plays Goblin Grenade and beats us. I fully deserve to lose after how poorly I played that match. No excuses. Alright, match number 5. And we won the die roll finally. However, we are mulliganing. This hand is a keep. Could potentially be slow, which I'm not in love with. It's a difficult bottom decision too. If we bottom the Rancor, we could get caught up with slow 3-mana cards we're unable to cast. If we bottom the Armadillo Cloak, we might need the Lifelink. If we bottom the Ancestral Mask, we lose out on power. Cartouche is our only first strike source. I think the answer is bottom Mask, but I'm not happy about that. Maybe it's bottom Rancor. We are on the play though, so we're less likely to hit our land. Alright, let's ditch Mask. So having just done a quick search of my opponent on tournament results, mostly because he's just away from the computer currently. It looks like he runs Kiln Fiend decks. So a bunch of red creatures, prowess, heroic, etc. Kiln Fiend. Plus all the burn spells. I guess cards to be aware of: Mutagenic Growth, Apostle's Blessing, and Team of Battle Rage. All those cards are quite annoying. Post board. It doesn't look like he runs End of Hostilities. Yeah, I've checked like 5 copies of the deck and it doesn't look like he runs it. Yeah, our opponent has a lot of 5-0s here. I just checked. It's only 1 5-0 in the current split, but obviously he likes jamming Kiln Fiend. And also, given the information we know about our opponent's deck, definitely keeping the Armadillo Cloak and bottoming the Ancestral Mask is correct. So opponent plays out the Crusader. That is not Kiln Fiend. I think I'm going to offer the trade from my opponent here. We just drew the second scout. We're a little bit slow here too. So Utopia Sprawl for white. Hopefully we hit our mana next turn. Alright, so Swift Spear. No Kiln Fiend this hand so far. If they had it, they most likely would have played it. Alright, and we find Ethereal Armor, so nothing really overly exciting here. We can build up a board state and look to block wide. I guess we just make a big creature and race. Or 1 creature blocks. I guess we can race, seeing no Kiln Fiend. We hit a land, we resolve Armadillo Cloak, we win. I guess there's no need to race. If we resolve Armadillo Cloak, we win. Yeah, attacking's probably wrong here. Alright, opponent just attacks with the Crusader. Passes back to us. This is so bizarre. How much power and toughness do you think you can give that scout? Because this is very bizarre. Maybe they're just blocking to fog damage. And they're going to use Apostle's Blessing to fog damage. I mean, it is mathematically possible for them to go like Chain Manamorphose, Apostle's Blessing, and some other effects. Oh, Team of Battle Rage. So he's giving First Strike. Double Strike includes First Strike, right? Plus Apostle's Blessing. Alright. Well, that sucks. Our opponent has, however, removed a large chunk of spells from their hand, and that damage isn't going to face. We can reload on our next scout and maybe get through the remainder of the damage. Alright, Fervor of the Bidden. Not the best for us. Chump block with Warrior Token. Lava Dart. Okay, so no chump block here. 1 card left in hand. Lava Dart, Flashback, Prowess. Our opponent can also Lava Dart their own Crusader to make another token and net the same damage. Alright, well, no blocks. Take a bunch. Really, our deck's giving us Commune. Like, just find me my land. Find me my fucking land. Ethereal Armor, Cartouche. Alright, we'll stick to the game plan of resolve Armadillo Cloak. Jump block. 1 guy back on defense again. Opponent can Fire Breathe this twice, and that would be awkward. So I guess we're on blocking mode, and then we can attack next turn for more. Opponent attacking for a bunch. 2 cards in hand. Lava Dart in the graveyard. If we block here, he can Lava Dart his own creature to mitigate the life gain. I think if we block anywhere else, like here he can just Fire Breathe. Here, a second spell, our creature's dead. So the only real choice is the Soldier, even though it's not ideal. Alright, so second Team of Battle Rage from the opponent, and that should be lethal. You should also note that Armadillo Cloak is a trigger. It will not happen simultaneously to our opponent. Holy shit. And the trigger will go on the stack. If we're dealt lethal, we won't get to gain the life in response, as opposed to a normal lifelink effect. Alright, so by the time that we had any real choices, we were just in a lot of trouble regardless. So, Crimson Acolyte, efficiency swap for Ledgewalker. We could potentially look to bring in Gut Shot. I don't love it. I don't love it at all. It could deal with the Acolyte. Kiln Fiend's 2 toughness. I really want removal for Kiln Fiend, but we don't have much of a choice here. Okay, hand is poop. Another hand of poop. This hand is like super average too. I don't think we win the game mulliganing to 4. I guess we bottom Rancor plus 1 more. I want to keep the Spider Umbra. We have 2 sources that interact with our lands here. I think it's Utopia Sprawl. Just card advantage sake. I don't like any of this. I don't like my hand where it's at right now at all. It's playable though. Alright, opponent Swift Spirit attack, and of course we blank. Why wouldn't we blank after mulliganing to a really terrible hand? At least we hit our land drop this time. Abundant Growth, draw a card. We're hitting our land drops and no action, so pretty bad way to end the league that was otherwise mostly competitive. And now we just draw out to all our mana. Alright, let's attack. We have a second creature. I value getting my opponent's creature off the board into no open mana. Opponent does not take it. Alright, well, I guess we'll Spider Umbra here and pass. Here comes Fervor of the Bidden. And an attack for 5. No blocks from me. Not interested in that one. End of step. End step, let's cycle Ash Barrens. Reshuffle those really awkward cards we didn't want. Crimson Acolyte's not bad, but alright, that's an actual card though. Let's play it. I think I want to play it on the Bogle. We can attack with both creatures in a future turn, chump block with Scout. Seems fine. I guess this is potentially... are they giving it double strike as well? Or are they just fire breathing for 1 million just because? Alright. Take 7. Oh god. I was about to say, like, if we draw Crimson Acolyte, maybe it was inopportune because we could give pro red and would miss lethal by not having double white to cast and give pro red twice. A consideration we could have is we could bring in Standard Bearer. So it can take removal spells like Lightning Bolt or Lava Dart, which isn't great, but it also could take our opponent's Fervor of the Bidden if they're looking to rely on that card. Team of Battle Rage, things like that. So we probably want to bring it in, and I'm just going to take out Mask because it's really slow. Opponent mulligans. This hand isn't great, but it's keepable. We have really good mana and 2 creatures. Yeah, I think this is fine. So that's your Hoplite. So blocking here, we could eat like a Team of Battle Rage or something of that nature. I think it's probably fine, given we've got the other creature in hand. In future turns, they're going to play Fervor of the Bidden. It's not going to be as exciting. Mutagenic growth, alright. Like, I'm pretty fine wasting this stuff when it's not that relevant yet. It's better than him doing that when I'm chump blocking and killing my creature. It's better than him putting it on his Kiln Fiend. So we brick on land because, of course, we brick on land immediately after Kiln Fiend is played. It's really, really bad now. Really horrible. I think we do this for white, although maybe green is more opportune. I guess if we do it for green, we can set up for more Utopia Sprawls in future turns. But, like, really I just want to be drawing land naturally, not doing that rubbish. Oh my god. I would say dead to Team of Battle Rage, but yeah. Why is he not putting it on Kiln Fiend? We brick. Like, what can we really do in this spot where we're bricking on mana every turn on the draw? Yeah. I will chump block. Okay, so we hit mana. Now our white mana does nothing. I guess we Abundant Growth, look to draw something. Yeah, I guess I just missed sequence completely as well, and we've also been punished with the color on Utopia Sprawl. Like, Abundant Growth, looking to draw white aura, but I should Utopia Sprawl first, then I can always Abundant Growth afterwards, and then I can have white mana up, and I can even Utopia Sprawl on green, so I have another green mana up. It's really poorly sequenced. Alright, so opponent did think for a little while before acting here. We will block and trade off our Spider Umbra. Obviously, Team of Battle Rage we're pretty much dead to, but we can't play around that, so we'll assume they don't have it. Alright, first good card of the game. How much matter do we have floating here? 3. I think we have to Spider Umbra for blocking purposes. We could Armadillo Cloak attack. That's a 4/4 with first strike, and that's hard for a Kiln Fiend to deal with. I guess Mutagenic Growth plus Apostle's Blessing would do it. I think if they have Apostle's Blessing, they would have used it last turn to push damage. It's possible they've just drawn dead on lands. Alright, let's force the issue. I'm just gonna risk it. Next turn we can empty out the rest of our auras, but we could empty out the rest of our auras regardless of how we sequence it. They block with Kiln Fiend. I guess they're trying to draw exactly Team of Battle Rage. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't. Cool. So no Team of Battle Rage. I guess they're just extremely flooded here. So Utopia Sprawl. Spider Umbra. Abundant Growth. Draw a card. Crimson Acolyte. Sure. So attack for 5. Gain life. We've got a free chump blocker. Again, Team of Battle Rage is really good for them. If they blank on Team of Battle Rage, though, we probably win. Wow, opponent hard cast Simian Spirit Guide. That's bad for them. Okay, so we'll go ahead and give Pro Red. Alright, and scout and attack. Gain some life. We've chosen to leave. Okay, we won. We chose to leave the planes in hand for denying information. So we go 2-3. Elves is unsurprisingly a loss, as it always seems to be for us. And we did misplay against our Game 4 opponent throwing the match. Obviously, we had the win there, and we got rid of it. Elves we lost to, no surprises there. I think we're unfortunate against the mono blue deck. Familiars was also a pretty close one as well. I think a couple of die rolls and we're in a different spot there. I'm really liking Spider Umbra main deck. I think it's very, very strong. It allows us to block in a lot of situations where we wouldn't otherwise be blocking because Totem Armor keeps our creature alive. It's pretty good into blocking these flying creatures, which is also pretty nice if we ever come up against a fairy matchup. Pairing that with Vigilance seems pretty nice. I've kind of... Sentinel's Eyes is a little bit medium to me at the moment, but if we're really targeting on beating this Fairies deck, it's pretty necessary to combo both of these spells onto a Bogle. I'm not super enjoying Rancor being at 2 of. I think Cloak and Mask being at 3 ofs is fine. I don't want to go down on Ledgewalker, but I don't really like it as a creature to rely on. But I do like Commune, and I want to keep Commune where it is. Maybe there's a world where we can trim on some number of copies of Abundant Growth or Utopia Sprawl. It seems unlikely to me. It's possible because we've gone a lower curve than the normal Bogle deck that we can do that, though, with the likes of Spider Umbra and Sentinel's Eyes taking up slots that things like Armadillo Cloak and Ancestral Mask normally would. We are a little bit lower to the ground and less reliant on Utopia Sprawl. So from the sideboard perspective, having played with Crimson Acolyte, I'm actually a really, really big fan of this card now. So much so that I think it should be at least a 3 of in the sideboard. I didn't think its activation of giving a creature pro-red would be relevant, but we saw in our last 2 matches, in match 4 and 5, how relevant that it can be. I also thought losing the flying would be relevant, but it seems less relevant than I previously thought. Not overly happy with how Gutshot lined up against opponents' decks this league. If we're versing decks with Standard Bearer in it, it's going to be very important, though. And yeah, we'll just keep that in mind, right? Flaring Pain is seeming a little bit less relevant to me. Catgate seems to be going down in frequency for me, like my appearance, what I'm coming across. So I might just actually cut that to a 1-off to allow for the extra Acolyte. I want to keep Standard Bearer at 3, Gutshot at 2, Scattershot at 3. And Young Wolf, I think it's a staple, even though I still don't seem to like it very much against the Edict type decks. Maybe I should try Jade Light Ranger, right? Pardon me, Jungle Maul Pioneer. So this was suggested to me by one viewer. I forget name of him currently. Apologies if you're watching this. I have credited him in a previous video, though. I think the Karklansh was one of the tips and tricks sort of videos, I believe. Maybe Karklak Shaman one. So Jungleborn Pioneer is a 2/2 creature. I know you can't see it super well right now with yeah, there we go, 2/2 creature. When it enters the battlefield, you get a 1/1 merfolk creature, so it is Edict protection. It almost Edict protects itself, or at least it protects itself from its sorcery speed Edict. And 2/2 helps get around, I guess, that 1 mana red sweeper, and one of the black ones as well that gives -1/-1 for 3 mana. One of them's called Flame of Hades. I think that's the 4 mana one, though. I'm still learning all the names. Bear with me. Thank you all for watching this league. I do hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. I'm sorry that I didn't play super optimally in that 4th match and potentially even in the 3rd match. But I hope you can appreciate me pointing out the correct play at the same time. Until next time, have a wonderful day. I'll see you then.